Hi, it's April 2nd, 2015, and Happy Autism Awareness Day. Welcome to the first podcast of Autism 30. I'm Talie, and I'll be your host, and I want to welcome you all to subscribe, join, and follow us. I have a son who was diagnosed with autism at the age of 2, and I've been fortunate enough to have encountered many wonderful people along my path who have educated me on how to help him, and in the process gained a deeper understanding about all aspects of autism. I've received my knowledge from doctors, specialists, teachers, workshops, various autism organizations, lectures, support groups, other parents, and online. And I would like to use this podcast to bring to you those sources that have benefited me and the others that have benefited the others in my community to enable you. I wanted to create a podcast that I would have appreciated, which didn't exist when I was starting my journey, as I love listening to podcasts myself. So I'm starting one today. Autism 30 is a 30-minute bi-weekly podcast where people who want information can listen and obtain it. I've called it Autism 30 because it will be no longer than 30 minutes, which, face it, we can all find time in our schedules to listen to, and autism for obvious reasons. I remember when my son was born. I know I'm biased, as all mothers should be, but I believe I just gave birth to the most perfect being on the planet. My first words to him were, "I love you." I never imagined how deeply I would love him. I can't even truly describe it to you in words. The only thing I knew for certain was, without question, I would die for this person, and my life will be eternally changed. I would be, from this moment on, completely devoted to ensuring that he had all the opportunities to become all that he could be, and that I finally understood the term Mama Bear as I became one that day. That day was joyfulness unbounded. As a first-time mother, like many of you, probably read various books on what to expect when you're expecting, your first year, etc. You know the ones. I knew some milestones that he was supposed to achieve and by what date. However, I believed that everything my child was doing was typical and wonderful. I didn't have a point of reference as he was my only one. He knew his alphabet by 12 months, all the geometric shapes, and loved to dance to music. He also had amazing focus. I believed it to be when he wanted to learn things he did. He seemed happy and good-natured, ate everything I placed in front of him. He was a serious child, but my own mother said that I was serious also when I was young. He was also a healthy-sized baby and toddler. At around 18 months of age, I began to have this niggling feeling in my stomach. I call it mother's intuition. My doctor, who knew me really well, asked me if I was concerned about anything. I opened up to her and said, I was concerned that he still didn't call me Mum or really speak to me. I thought, maybe it was my ego. But why should I feel this way? I mean, his first word was hexagon. That's a long word. She sent him to a variety of tests. He first went to an ear doctor to test his hearing. He was fine. And then to an optometrist to test his sight, and that was fine too. Then she made an appointment with a speech pathologist. I'll never forget that day as long as I live. It was a Friday. My son was 2 years and 3 months old at this point. She was a lovely woman, really empathetic and kind. She was extremely experienced, and she came really highly recommended. My son and I walked into her office, and she was asking me a load of questions as my son was playing by the window. He was also starting to read at this point and was doing so in her office. She was observing him during this question period, and when the questions ended with me, she then proceeded to interact with my son and test him. Within 20 minutes, she very empathetically delivered her assessment to me. I believe your son has autism. Even though I taught high school students, some of whom had autism, and knew they were all great and capable, and I actually had a soft spot for one of the boys and absolutely adored him, my whole world came crashing down that day and panic set in. Visions of Rain Man entered into my brain, my dreams of what I had envisioned for him were exploding away, and fear gripped me to the core of my being. The reason why she informed me that day is that with all her experience, she was very well aware of wait times and what my journey was to come. And the sooner and better prepared I was, as early as possible, the better the outcome for my son. She knew I couldn't afford to waste a day, and I will always be eternally grateful to her. Please note that a speech pathologist cannot give you the official autism diagnosis. It's only the psychologist that is able to do that. After I left her office and arrived home, I looked at my son and in Mama Bear fashion decided that no, he wasn't going to have the life of Rain Man institutionalized and put away, and my dreams for him aren't going to change. I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure that if there are limits for him now in society, when I'm done with this planet there won't be, as I won't leave a stone left unturned to take away all those limitations. Literally, the 3 days that followed felt like I was back in university studying for an exam. However, this time, it wasn't for my GPA. It was for my son. I felt so driven. I felt as if it was a life and death situation and his depended on it, and my acquiring that knowledge needed to help him. I didn't sleep, and I used every resource to research all aspects of autism. Thank you, Google, specialist I called in off-duty hours who had patience and understanding, and those who have spent time in writing books, developing web pages to inform, and YouTube videos to help me. Your work and help are so very valuable. I hope this podcast becomes a help to someone else someday in this situation. I've always had a personality of, don't tell me I can't do something because I'll prove to you I can. I'm grateful for that quality, and throughout this journey it has become not only a valuable tool, but a survival prerequisite. Had I listened to many of the doubters along my path, some of whom were professionals, I know my son wouldn't be where he is now. You'll meet many informed people who will place their own limits on your situation, but you know your situation, and never let anyone set your limits. Remember, all trailblazers had to drudge through oceans of cynics, but they're also the ones that discovered other lands. The speech pathologist also told me that always remember this is a marathon and not a sprint, and how true that statement is. Also remember, if you're going to be a wallflower, other children in the system will get more services than you. It's really not nice to hear, but that's the reality. With the lack of availability when it comes to autism services, it really has become a fight for survival situation. The squeaky wheel gets the grease. Just always remember, respect goes a long way. By Monday, I had a plan of action, then with my persistence and determination made it my mission in life to make his life uncompromisingly bright. This plan also changed over time, as I'm sure yours will, with new knowledge acquired along the way. But my son was on a positive path. Being on the road is better than sitting at the starting line. Looking back on the day my son was assessed by the speech pathologist, I'm actually now ashamed of how I felt for those 48 hours, how fear had me in turmoil. But I now understand it. I was uninformed, like the majority of society is, unfortunately. There are many good organizations, many I'll feature here, out there trying to bring awareness to the world, and we are grateful. I, however, believe the media and other groups can do much more to bring enlightenment. The knowledge I have now would have so relieved me of the unnecessary anxiety I felt then. Let's not forget the current statistics. When my son was diagnosed, the rates of autism in society was 1 in 150. Now, it's 1 in 68. With the numbers growing this fast, we need more education as a society, and the information has to be readily available to not only to those who have children and family members on the spectrum, but everyone. After receiving the official autism diagnosis from the psychologist, our family already had a course of action and a plan in place for him, what we believed to be the best fit for our child. What I've learned so far. When you have a child with autism, you automatically join a community of people who have immense wisdom to impart, if you go out and find them. Once you've received the diagnosis, you will undoubtedly be submerged not only in your own fog, but also into an onslaught of opinions that will, without question, leave you gasping for air, and you'll feel confused and terrified to make the next step, ever wanting to do the right thing for your child. There is no right way. Only a vast of amounts of opinions and philosophies who may lay claim to being the only way, but aren't. If there's a state-sanctioned therapy that can help some, there are others that may be better helping other children. You must know your own individual with autism and their own unique gifts and challenges in order to best help them reach their full potential. I also want people to note that I respect people who respect people. I realize there are people out there who say, people on the autism spectrum don't need to change, and it's society's view about people with autism that should change. I'm in total agreement that people with autism are different, not less. In fact, I believe that every individual, typical or not, is different, not less. I also believe that all humans are unique and that we should all embrace our differences and support and care for one another. My perspective on learning difference and disability are of empathy, understanding, and fortitude. I will share my own story of my own disability. I have dyslexia, and I was only made aware of this fact in my last year of university many moons ago. Before getting the diagnosis, I always felt stupid because I couldn't spell the word college, even though I attended one for years, along with not being able to read a whole fiction novel. I love reading academic textbooks, but I couldn't manage to read the children's story, The Little Prince. I used to think, what's wrong with me? And it used to frustrate me to no end. This also affected my confidence, and I felt doors closing. After getting the diagnosis, dyslexia, and meeting with wonderful educators who specialized in helping people like me, I developed skills and strategies which allowed me to overcome some of the challenges that I faced. My world opened up, my confidence in my abilities soared, and I learned to navigate through the world and eliminate the various obstacles that hindered me. I speak for myself when I say most parents don't want to change the heart of their children, in which autism is a part. They want to eliminate the challenges that those who have autism face so that life will become easier for them. I don't want to change my son, but I would love to take away his pain when he hears noises that hurts his ears, when he's sensory overloaded and unable to contain his pain. I would also love for him to be able to make deep and close relationships with those around him to ensure that he won't feel lonely as an adult. I want him to be able to navigate easily in society so that he can be all that he can be, what he chooses to be. And I want him to have options available to choose from, and I don't want his options to have limits. That is why I have my son in therapy, which is why I'm using all the resources at my disposal to give him the best chance so he can live his full life, one that's of his choice. just as the dyslexic specialists at my university have given me. I know that having a disability and learning to navigate through the typical world has forced me to think creatively to cope and has brought real ingenuity to my thinking skills, which has benefited me in the long run. I'm stronger and I have developed fortitude and feel it has given me an edge in my career. I wouldn't want to change my experience and I wouldn't want to choose to never have had dyslexia. I know my son and all children on the spectrum and those who think differently have a lot to teach us. And always remember that just because you see weakness in one area, never underestimate strengths people have in the others. My son and people on the autism spectrum are always astounding me. If you meet one person with autism, you've met one person with autism. It's called a spectrum for a reason, and there isn't only one path to follow. You must decide what is right for your own particular situation. My goal for this podcast is to be an extension of the knowledge that I've acquired along the way, as well as the latest news from the world of autism. With this podcast, Autism 30, I step on the shoulders of the people who've helped me, taking the torch and running forward, paying it forward. Maybe in your own way, when you believe you have something to offer back, you too can find a way to pay it forward. Autism 30 isn't a professional lecture series about autism research. It's information from one parent to another and those interested, meant to inform, not overwhelm, and genuinely from the heart with love, give you a small gift of knowledge to hopefully empower you. Autism 30 will be about a variety of hopefully helpful information pertaining to issues about autism that may or may not affect you, such as different types of therapy available, various organizations that can possibly help for you, upcoming workshops and experts in the field, book reviews, authors, doctors, parents, and people on the spectrum giving you their point of view and insight, etc. I want you to understand also that I do not endorse any of my guests and their companies on Autism 30. I only bring you their information which may be helpful to your situation. Remember, you are responsible for the choices that you make for your own circumstance. You must discern for yourself which to apply and which would not be suitable. If you listen to a podcast that interests you, their contact details will be on the autism30.com website, and you can contact them for further information. I fully anticipate you will find some podcasts very helpful, some confusing, and some with little to no use to you. But you will learn a little bit more about what is available in the autism community. Remember, information is power, and I want to give it to everyone. You can find us on social media, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Google+, and of course, the autism30.com website. Please subscribe to receive information about upcoming podcasts, and like us and join us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, at Autism30. I've also set up the autism30.com webpage to keep podcasts organized and easy for you to get the information that interests you. If you want to only hear about podcasts related to therapies, for example, find the word podcast in the menu bar at the top of the page and click the word podcast. Then go down to the word therapies and click. You will be brought to a page where all the other podcasts relating to therapies will be, with all the other podcasts edited out. You can do this for all the other subjects too. This makes it really easy to only hear what you want. As a parent myself, I know time is so precious. As a keen podcaster listener myself, I know this has been a real issue for me to find easy, relevant information. Therefore, I made a point to make my system user-friendly. Contact Autism 30 if you'd like to be a guest and feel you have something to offer our audience. If you would like to make a kind donation, if you would like to advertise your company on our site, if you would like to make a comment and give us your opinions and ideas for shows you'd like to hear, and thoughts of how we can better serve your needs. You can also contact me, Talie, personally. If you want to contact Autism 30, you can also go to that same menu bar at the top of the page and click Contact. You will be brought to a page that you can fill out depending on what your topic issue is. Don't forget, select Topic from the drop-down. Thank you so much to those in the past and the future who volunteered to help with this podcast, Autism 30, and all the others in the autism community. This podcast is dedicated to you. To my son and all those who have autism, I'm humbled by your bravery and courage, and completely amazed at your gifts, and I hope you know that this world wouldn't be as brilliant without you in it. I love you, and I've learned a lot from you, and I know I'll continue to do so. I want to give a real shout out to our friend Greg Milk for his wonderfully inspiring music and our theme song, Autism Awareness Angel, featured in today's podcast. He's another wonderful father of 2 children on the spectrum in our community, doing his part to help. You can listen to it in its entirety and download it, and his other great music from our webpage, autism30.com on iTunes. Thank you for welcoming Autism 30 into your ear for 30 minutes twice a month, and I hope you find what you're looking for. Remember, Light It Up Blue tonight, April 2nd, and note that the start of our regular bi-monthly podcast will start on July 1st, Canada's birthday. Let everyone know, and in the meantime, this is Talie telling you to live in love.
Hey yo, I'm an autism awareness angel, making sure my wings protected different, stranger than. I'm an autism awareness angel. It's good, cause I'm cool with the unique behavior. I'm an autism awareness angel. Will you accept me? Cause I accept you. I'm an autism awareness angel, cause a view from the spectrum is a better point of view.